not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness is form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. Putra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease. Therefore, in emptiness, no forms, no feelings, no perceptions, no impulses, and no consciousness, no eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind, no realm of eyes, and so forth until no realm of mind consciousness, no ignorance, and also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them, suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment, with nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva depends on prajna paramita, and his mind has no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist, far apart from every perverted view. He dwells in nirvana, in the three worlds. All Buddhas depend on prajna paramita and attain anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering, and is true, not false. So proclaim the prajna paramita mantra, proclaim the mantra which says gate, gate, para, gate, para, samgate, bodhisattva, gate, gate, para, gate, para, samgate, bodhisattva, gate, gate, para, gate, para, samgate, bodhisattva.
Hi everyone, how are you?
Câu hỏi là mấy việc này biết là tuần trước là gì không?
Tuần này là ngày rằm tháng 2, là ngày lễ Phật nhập Niết Bàn, Phật mất đó, trăng tròn tháng 2.
This month, full moon. You know what that signifies? What special religious, Buddhist religious ceremony? You know what it is?
The full moon ceremony?
It is
15 tháng 2 là ngày Phật nhập Niết Bàn.
the 15th of February, 2,567 years ago.
Cách đây 2567 năm, vào ngày này, vào ngày 15 tháng 2, Đức Phật thì hiện nhập Niết Bàn, Đức Phật mất đó.
Yeah, the Buddha entered Nirvana, his death. And what was his last teaching? Anybody know?
Nhìn các vị thấy để tượng cái bông.
That's why we have the Sunday. We had a ceremony for that. So everybody.
Với thầy mới tổ chức rồi chủ nhật tuần rồi.
Everybody gets a flower and dedicate it to the Buddha.
It was just this last Sunday.
Yeah.
Last Sunday.
So what was his last teaching? You know? Anyone know?
Be a light on yourself, something like that.
Yes. His last teaching. Well, what you know how he died?
Old age, right?
No. Yes, old age, but he didn't know. Eating poisonous mushroom.
Oh.
He went into the forest and he met this horse drawer. He was a mushroom picker. And he had heard about the Buddha. He always wanted to hear the Buddha teaching, but he would, he's poor, he never got a chance to. So the Buddha went into the forest to do his practice, and he met with him, and then the forest dweller invited him to his home for a meal, and he went and picked a mushroom. And unfortunately, one of the mushrooms was poisonous, and the Buddha ate it. And I forget how long it took, but several days or something like that. He got sick and he passed away. But before he passed away, words got out that he was sick. Well, the legend says that he, through his power, he called all his disciples to tell him that he was leaving the world. So all 500 arahants and other monks came to say goodbye to him. His attendant Ananda, which is his first cousin, came, and then the Buddha, with his deep compassionate nature, was afraid that people might hurt that forest dweller. So he told him that do not hurt that dweller, because he is the instrument for me being completely liberated from all my past karma. Supposedly in the past years, lifetimes, he did something to that person. Now he has to repay, right, the karma. So that was his last repayment, or last deed that he needed to do, is to eat the poisonous mushroom and be completely liberated. So so all the monks came, and in the last hours, Ananda, his attendant, asked him, "When you're gone, what shall we depend on to continue our path?" And he told him that, "You've got all my teaching, right? So depend on the teaching and look upon yourself to find the path. Liberate yourself. Do not depend on any virtuous person, anybody. Depend on the Dharma." Meaning, you can only liberate yourself through wisdom, through the teaching. He also said, but you have all this extensive teaching I have given you. Use only what's appropriate for yourself. If it's not appropriate for your liberation, get rid of it. Don't get attached to anything. Even the Dharma. If the Dharma is not helpful, don't get attached to it. That was his last teaching. Good story, huh? Yeah.
Từ mình thắp thuốc lên mà đi.
Yeah, có mấy giải thích. Yeah.
Cái thứ nhất, cái thứ hai là khi Đức Thế Tôn mất, Ngài nên hỏi Thế Tôn, trước khi Đức Thế Tôn mất thì con đương ai làm thầy. Thế Tôn dạy là hãy lấy giới luật làm thầy.
Yeah, so he just reminded me one other thing is that the Dharma is one thing, practice, right? Practice meditation is the second. Look behind yourself. Let you look within you to be the light of the path. The third thing is live virtuously. Follow the rules of monks and nuns. Do not steal, do not hurt others. 5 to 10 vows, and the 250 I think for monks is 250 something rules. For nuns is more rules.
Giờ chúng ta học tiếp câu kinh pháp cú thứ 37, 38. Tâm phàm phu cứ lén lút đi một mình, đi rất xa, vô hình, vô dạng, như ẩn náu hang sâu. Ai điều phục được tâm thì giải thoát khỏi vòng ma trói buộc. Câu 38.
Câu 37 37.
Tới câu 38.
Yeah.
Người tâm không an định, không hiểu biết chánh pháp, không tín tâm kiên cố thì không thể thành tựu được trí tuệ cao siêu. Câu 37, Đức Phật dạy cái tâm phàm phu nó cứ lén lút đi một mình, đi rất xa, vô hình vô dạng, như ẩn náu hang sâu. Nói cái tâm của mình nó hay lén lút, nó nhỏ nhiệm, khó điều phục, nó ẩn, nó vô hình vô dạng, nó khó điều phục. Có khi nó nghĩ như thế này, khi nghĩ thế kia. Có khi ví dụ giống như là con khỉ nó chìm trên cây, nó lăn xăng. Cái tâm mình nó cũng như vậy, mà nó lén lút. Nhiều khi mình ngồi đây nhưng mà nó lén lút, nó nghĩ đến chuyện quá khứ, nó nghĩ tới chuyện tương lai, nó nghĩ tới chuyện xấu, chuyện dở, đủ thứ hết. Nó không ở ngay đây mà nó dẫn mình đi luôn, như là ẩn náu hang sâu. Đức Phật Ngài nói ai mà điều phục được cái tâm này thì giải thoát khỏi cái vòng ma trói buộc. Nên khi mà mình bị cái tham, cái sân, cái si nó điều phục mình, nó dẫn mình đi, cái tâm mình nó nghĩ hoài lung tung, khó điều phục. Nếu mà mình làm chủ được cái tâm mình rồi thì mình sẽ được giải thoát, sẽ được an vui, sẽ thoát khỏi cái vòng ma trói buộc. Cái câu 38 là
để con dạy Okay, we're going to talk about verse 37 and 38 of the Dhamma. Verse 37, free although are they who have controlled their minds, faring far, wandering alone, bodiless, lying in a cave is the mind. Those who subdue it are freed from the bond of Mara. Anybody understand that? Yes?
When we subdue our mind, even all the impulses, we don't respond to.
Do you know what Mara is? Who Mara is?
It's temptation.
Temptation and the 3 poisons. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Mara is the temptation of
Craving,
the craving for
desires,
desire and
aversion,
ignorance. Yeah, those are the 3 things that create a wandering mind. So here he talks about how difficult it is to find or recognize the wandering mind, because it's so fleeting. And there's also this mind, this wandering mind that's also deep within ourselves. Here he says here, lying in a cave, meaning those deep thoughts that you think is gone, basically, or deep thoughts or aversions or desire, there's a lot of them are really subtle, really deep. It's very hard to identify, right? And they're always moving. It's always changing. Your mind's always changing, and changing really quickly as well. So it's very hard to subdue it or recognize and subdue it. But those that can subdue it will be liberated from Mara, from the temptations, from the craving, from the aversion, from the delusions. And that's what you need to always remember.
How to subdue to the level where we don't have what we can recognize and free from
How do you subdue it?
yeah.
First you have to recognize it, right? That means you have to be aware of it, right? So what is the practice to cultivate awareness?
Meditation.
Yes, meditation. Meditation, we concentrate on the breath because it's there, right? It's easy to identify. When we're good at that concentration, then we move to the Satipatthana, the four foundations of mindfulness. We contemplate or observe sensations throughout the body. Right? Those are a little more subtle. They come and they go quicker than the breath, right? So they're a little harder to identify. So when we have good concentration through breath meditation, then we move to concentration or establishing awareness of the body sensations. And when we're good at that, then we move into emotion. Notice how emotion is really quick, right? It could be there, it could last forever, or it just could be, it comes and goes. Within a blink of an eye, you can have many emotions depending on what's around you, what's affecting you. When we're good at that, then we move into observing the mind, the thought. Right? Each thought, the Buddha says something like, within a blink of an eye, there are hundreds of thousands of thoughts that comes up, that bubbles from the cave. Yeah. But we don't know it. Because we don't have that subtle awareness, that sensitivity in awareness to catch it. But you can practice to a point where you can identify the thought, and even the seed of the thought before it sprouts. And you can control it, subdue it there, that it does not become a thought, and it doesn't become an action or speech. Okay.
Câu 37 này ví dụ như mình ngồi thiền, mình tu. Khi mình ngồi là mình tập làm chủ tâm của mình. Mình đang ngồi đây, nhưng mà mình nhớ tới chuyện quá khứ. Người ta làm cho mình đau khổ, làm cho mình bất an, làm cho mình phiền não. Mình nhớ tới đó cái mình buồn. Mình ngồi đây mà giống như là mình đang sống ở thời quá khứ. Nên mình buồn, mình khổ, mình giống như là bị ma nó trói buộc. Mình ngồi đây nhưng mà mình không có ở đây, mà cái tâm mình nó nghĩ tới quá khứ. Nên khi mình ngồi ở đây, mình đếm hơi thở, hít vô đếm 1, thở ra đếm 2, hít vô đếm 3, thở đếm 4 tới 10. Kia nó rất đơn giản, nhưng mà cái đó là mình tập, mình làm điều phục cái tâm của mình. Khi mình làm điều phục cái tâm của mình được rồi thì mình ngồi đây, thân mình ngồi đây, tâm mình vẫn ngồi đây. Nên mình thoát khỏi cái vòng ma trói buộc. Ma đây là cái niệm quá khứ hay là cái niệm tương lai, nó làm cho mình bất an ngay giây phút hiện tại.
So he says don't
Cho nên khi mình ngồi đó mình phải tập làm chủ, áp dụng cái phương pháp đếm hơi thở rồi sau đó mình biết, vừa khởi lên cái niệm mình biết nó không vọng, mình không có theo. Mình tập mình làm chủ cho tâm mình cho nó vững chắc, đó mình điều phục được tâm của mình thì mình sẽ giải thoát khỏi cái vòng ma trói buộc.
Says don't discount the practice of counting the breath either. If you observe the breath and it's difficult for you, count the breath. The breath meditation, the whole purpose of breath meditation is to concentrate the mind, to anchor the mind. You create an anchor for yourself, concentrate the mind, so that if thought comes in, you can easily identify it. Right? That's the whole purpose. And if you get caught in the thoughts or in some distraction, you can come back to it to recenter yourself. Remember when we first sat? Do you remember what I said about the 3 phases of meditation? First phase, you have good attention. Let's say you focus on your breath, you're able to focus on it, you have good, you relax as well, so there's a balance between concentration, effort, and relaxation. So you're breathing in, you're breathing in. The moment you're breathing out, that you're breathing out. If one breath is longer than the other, you are aware of that. When the body becomes calm or the breath becomes calm and the mind is calm, you know that it's calm. When it's not calm, you know it's not calm. So we follow breath in every moment, from beginning to the end, continuously. That helps you concentrate the mind. And when the mind has good concentration, then it's almost like you have only one point on a white piece of paper. Right? You have only one dot. That's your dot of concentration. So anything that falls onto that piece of paper, regardless how subtle it is, you're able to see it easier. If your mind is not concentrated, it's flying all over the place. Any thought that comes in, you're going to miss it. So the breath meditation is very important in that respect. And then observing the breath is difficult, and your mind gets wanders often. Then you should be counting. Counting gives you a little more concentration, something more tangible to focus on. So it's easier to focus. And then so off and on, when you're focusing, you're focusing your breath. You're actually bringing you to the present moment, right? Because you're taking the breath in the present. So what happens when you are distracted? What is coming in? Is usually the past or the future. Future worries, right? Past regrets, whatever that may be. Unwise action that causes suffering, that comes in. Anxiety because fear, because of future, not knowing what's coming, that comes in. That's distraction mind, that's Mara. So we stay present so we can see future and past as they come in to disturb us. And we maintain our focus. That's all we need to do. If we maintain our focus, it comes and it goes. We don't have to do anything with it. We don't have to fight it. We don't have to push it away. It's effortless if we can train our mind to be present in time. Do you have any questions? Yes.
I notice reacting.
Reacting? Yeah.
Reacting to some sound if somebody says something and I want to go and do something.
Okay, can you speak a little louder because this thing is on?
I notice reacting.
What is reacting?
No, I'm actually noticing myself reacting.
Reacting.
Yeah.
Can you
To
give
some
me
sound.
sound?
Like somebody was talking something about me and I get uncomfortable. I have to react to it.
Right. That's the mind wandering, right?
Yeah.
And then why do you think you're reacting?
Maybe I was fearful about what they're talking about.
Fearful, right? So you hear somebody speak your name, you don't really understand or not too sure what they say, right? But right away, your mind travels. to the future. Are they saying something bad about me? Right? So your reaction is because you're not present. You're not present with what is. You put more into what is than there is.
Yeah.
Right?
Just trusting what
Right.
it is, right?
Yeah. So that's why you suffer. Right? That's why there's a reaction. So the difference between reaction and action is what?
What's the first again?
What is the difference between reaction and action?
Reaction is automatic. It happens quickly.
The what?
Reaction could be automatic
Yeah.
or quicker.
Yeah. In
Action's present, right? You're doing something in the moment.
well, reaction is in the moment as well, isn't it?
That's true.
Right?
Yes.
Reaction is always the response.
A response, right? But an action can be response too, right?
This is tricky. Especially unconscious.
Pardon me?
When you're reacting, you're unconscious.
Yes. Right. You're unconscious. You're acting out of habits, out of automatic, right? Something's familiar to an experience in the past that's happening right now. The brain goes into automatic mode. Oh, it must be that, so I'm going to react just like how I reacted before, right? There's no conscious awareness of or clarity about what is and where you are. Right? So you have to be conscious to act, right? Cô đó hỏi là lúc mà cổ đôi khi cổ ở ngoài á, cổ nghe người này người kia nói tên cổ lên, xong rồi cổ giật mình, xong cổ nghĩ xấu,
nghĩ ta nói xấu không?
nghĩ người ta nói xấu, xong rồi lo sợ này kia. Cổ hỏi tại sao như vậy, tại sao cách nào mà để mình trị cái đó.
Cái trực tiếp người ta nói thẳng ngay mình á, thì nếu mà mình có xấu thì mình sửa, còn không có xấu thì thôi. Còn ta nói bâng quơ bên ngoài thôi mình đừng để.
So he says that, okay, if you hear somebody talk about you or criticize you, there's or say something about you, right? There's three things you can do, depending on what they are. Right? If they praise you for something, then do more of that. If it's good for, right? So you want to cultivate good deeds, continue that, because that trains the mind. It's just like your consciousness is like a vessel. You either put white pebbles in it or black pebbles in it, right? Good deeds and bad deeds. And you want more white pebbles than black pebbles. If they say something about you that's negative, stop, take a breath, reflect upon yourself. Take that mirror out, reflect about what they say, and really, truly, with honesty, reflect, is that true? If that's true, then you need to focus on changing yourself to not do negative things. Right? But if you don't really know what they're talking about, just treat it as sound. They're just sound. That's all.
Mình dành nhiều thời gian ra mình ngồi thiền, mình xem kinh sách, và mình ứng dụng nó là Phật dạy vào đời sống hàng ngày, nó tốt hơn là mình lo sợ người ta nói này nói kia.
So, and another thing about fear about what people say about you, that's a lot of waste of time, right? Don't spend time on that. Even if it's, whether it's true or not, the best thing is just to ignore it. Right? Look upon yourself. Let yourself be the light. Spend your time wisely instead of worrying about what they said. Spend the time cultivating yourself. Do your practice. Do the teaching of the Buddha. Right? We only have limited of time, right? But you get to choose what you do with it, right? Right? You can choose to suffer and continue to suffer and react based on unclarity, right? And suffer from it. Or you choose to do the opposite. Right? Words are temporary, right? Everything is impermanent, right? So always think about impermanent when you're practicing, when you're aware. And we're talking about impermanence in terms of moment to moment, thought by thought, action by action, emotion by emotion. Right? We're also talking about impermanence of our life as well. You know, we don't see how impermanent we are. I'm sure you think you're going to probably be here at least 40 more years for some of us, right? Right? Unnecessary. Because if you look around, you know, you see young people die, baby die, right? You have no control of that. Anything can happen at any time. So you know, look at your life as being so precious. The time that you have, so precious. Every moment is precious. And every life is being aware in the moment. Outside of that, you're just a zombie. You're not living. That's not life. Always reflect on that. Any comments or any questions?
Just a thank you.
Yeah.
Nguyện đem công đức này hướng về khắp tất cả đệ tử và chúng sanh đều trọn thành Phật đạo. Có vị nào mới chưa